When I came down to this position in my conversation with the governor who appointed me, he told me, listen to the voices. Listen to what people are talking about. And I take that to heart. It's less about me going out and them hearing from me, and I certainly recognize that's important, and they do hear that. But it's more about me hearing from them. I don't come from child welfare background, have a heart for it certainly, but it's not my training and education. When I'm going out and meeting with our staff in the regions, one of the things I decided to do was it's important for me to see the front lines. I visited our Eastern Mountain region, which is Appalachia, Kentucky, far Eastern Kentucky, and met with the region staff. It was a big meeting with a lot of staff one morning. And then that afternoon, I got in a car with a social worker, and we did home visits.
I was with the commissioner when he made home visits, and that mattered to that worker. I don't remember in my career ever a top leader of our agency doing ride-alongs and going into homes with compassion, hearing families, and really following up with that worker from one home to another, processing with that worker, and really that was brought back.
We've got to do a better job in child welfare of recognizing the volatility that we work in. We're dealing with abuse and neglect, families in crisis, domestic violence, and these things don't have office hours. These things are 2 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and you're going out in some places in rural Kentucky off the grid, having no idea what you're walking into. But there is nothing more humbling than pulling up into someone's driveway. We were off the grid, no GPS, no phone signal, and going into a dwelling of extreme poverty where there's a history of drug abuse, a history of violence, and going up to that door to check on the welfare of a child. I was with a social worker, probably in her mid to late 20s, maybe early 30s, in her own car, doing that. Seeing that put my advocacy and commitment to them on steroids. When I walked into that setting, it was extreme poverty. Yes, there was some safety and risk concerns previously, but we went in and saw a child who was happy, who was healthy, who was glad to see the social worker come in. They recognized each other. She wanted to show how she got a trampoline, how she could go outside and do a flip on the trampoline. Would it have been easy to go in and remove in a situation like that? Certainly. But was it the right decision? No. That child was safe. That child was happy. And that goes to what I was speaking to. We all need to understand that when we make these decisions, there is deep impacts. Perhaps the difficult but right decision is to see how can we engage the community in a way to come alongside this family and remove this risk or this safety concern to keep that family together and thriving.
That wasn't a wasted day. That came back and was talked about in a community partner meeting, and the commissioner really set out in that meeting, look, this is real work. Every decision that we make and all the transformational strategies that we have, everything that we're developing should remember that there's a little girl and a mom, a dad, partners. They will all feel the impact.
We all need to understand that when we make these decisions, there is deep impacts, trauma, and emotional things that we need to take in consideration when we make these critically important decisions in people's lives. So it also raised my respect and appreciation for what families go through, the challenges they face in certain areas of our state. But Also, going back to that worker and the tough decisions they have to make on the spot in real time when they're off the grid. I would encourage other leaders of their agency, if they've come from the field or not, get back to those roots, because they're in the trenches on the front line every day doing this stuff. It's just coming down and empower people to do what they're trained and they know to do. And they've just, never really been truly given their wings and been told to fly.